Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Reticent. Chapter 1. A Vigilante Walks into a Sewer. Written by Reticent 2012. Read by Anonymous9. Raph was getting sick of constantly having to sneak around. All he wanted to do was go to the surface like Leo. But in order to do so, he had to preemptively make up an elaborate lie about where he was. Otherwise, he'd have to deal with Leo keeping a watchful eye on him for at least the next 2 weeks. He guessed he should be thankful, given how many times he'd managed to get away with constantly going up there. But that didn't mean he would give up the chance of getting the freedom to constantly go. Although he has absolutely no idea what he'd do to obtain that freedom. He'd have to convince Leo that he's responsible enough. Raph was sure that would be obvious by the time he turned 15, but the blue-masked bastard still refused to let him or his twin go. Mikey had been pretty upset about it, despite probably being the closest to Leo out of the three of them. He'd never been to the surface himself, the only one of them who hadn't done so before. Donnie had once, but given the consequences of both going up there and Leo finding out about it, he'd been far too scared to try again. Raph knew how fascinated he was with it, though. He wished he could take him up there and show him how interesting the surface could actually be. The soft shell would go crazy over the junkyard, he was sure of it. But if Leo didn't trust him or Mikey to go to the surface, he'd trust Donnie even less. It would practically be impossible to convince him that the youngest would be able to handle himself up there. The only thing that could maybe work is if he snuck up there and came back in one piece. Heck, maybe that could work for Raph and Mikey too. Sneak up and see the surface together for a few hours, grab some supplies, possibly see April's apartment, and then come back to rub it in Leo's face. Sure, Raph couldn't really convince Leo on his own, but 3 against 1? The leader would have to give in, even to his subordinates. It was worth a shot. The Mata mutant sat up from his bed, swishing his curtain open in order to go looking for Dawn. It would be a lot easier to convince Mikey if one brother was already on his side. As he peeked into the purple-plastered room, he noticed the similarly purple-plastered mutant tinkering away at something. Raph slowly approached him before placing a hand on his shoulder, coupled with a, "Hey bud, what you working on?" This earned a jolt from Donnie at first before he spun around in order to catch a glimpse of who'd disturbed him, only relaxing when he did so. A small smile graced his features. "Oh, sorry. Didn't notice you were there." He stayed silent for a few moments, stewing in contemplation before adding on, could you repeat what you said?" Raph obliged, and the bespectacled boy carefully lifted what he was working on from off the desk before presenting it to the other. "Mind telling me what it is first?" Was all Raph could really offer. He didn't want to be rude, but half the things the kid made were confusing as hell without explanation. "Right, so you know that broken cell phone father brought me? Turns out, only the screen was smashed. Can you believe it? Just the screen. Everything inside was practically in all working order. Do you know what that means, Raffy?" Don looked at him expectantly. It took him a few moments to realize what he was getting at. "You can create cell phones for all 4 of us?" The vigorous nodding he received in response informed him that was the correct answer before the youngest even opened his mouth. "Exactly. They won't be as technologically advanced as April's, but she won't let me take hers apart, so we'll have to settle for the next best thing." "I'm sure they'll be great, Dee." Raph patted him on the shoulder, which was more well received this time around. "So, making 4 whole phones sounds like it would take a lot of materials. Maybe we should go get some ourselves instead of waiting for Dad." Donnie stared at him for a while with a wavering smile before his expression fell. Wait, you're not joking, are you?" "Raph, I'm not going up there. I can't go up there. You know Leo would flip out, and it's dangerous." "Come on, Leo flips out over anything. You'd be grounded for 2 weeks just for saying fuck." "But don't you hate me saying?" "Not the point, bud. What I'm trying to say is that I'm sick of his shit. He can't keep us trapped down here forever. Do you really want to live your entire life sitting in a sewer?" "Well, no, but..." "Great!" Raph grabbed his hand and dragged him out of the chair into the hallway. "Then we're gonna go get Mikey and get the fuck out of here." Don must have resigned to his fate because it only took a few seconds for him to stop dragging his feet and start walking along with Raph. Do you really think we can handle it?" he piped up as they stood outside Mikey's room. "Course I do, Dee. And I'm sure Mikey does too." "Absolutely not." Mikey didn't even bother looking up from his painting. There's no way he was going up to the surface with Raph. All that would happen is that they'd get hurt or lost or something even worse, and then they'd be grounded for the rest of time. No thank you. He quite likes being on Leo's good side. "What?" Raph grumbled. You can't skip out. Donnie's going. Are you really gonna chicken out before Donnie? The indignant yell of, "Hey," made Mikey finally look up. Oh, well, I mean, what kind of cool older brother would I be if I didn't show Don the ropes of the surface? But you... Raph slapped a hand over the softshell's mouth. Huh. The painted turtle wondered what Dee was trying to say. Maybe he was gonna talk about how Mikey is the coolest brother ever, no matter what. Yeah, that sounds like him. Then that settles it. Get your shit together, guys. We'll leave in 5. And, throw on a hoodie or something. You need to cover up as much as possible. Got it! Mikey and his younger brother responded in unison, which made him happy. They're connecting already. It wouldn't be long till... His train of thought was interrupted by Raph. Also, bring your weapons. Never know what kind of weirdos humans will turn out to be. Not all of them are as chill as O'Neill. Raph led his younger brothers out of the sewers, looking back every once in a while to make sure they were still following. Why are we taking this stupidly long route? We've passed like 17 ladders at this point. Mikey groaned as he pulled Dee up, the softshell having gotten fascinated by another unnatural-looking plant growing through the cracks of the floor. Because this is the best one. Was all Raph responded with. How do you know? The only one that's been up here before is Dawn. The Mata hesitated for a moment before admitting, I might have been up here a few times. Oh, really? Then why didn't you invite me? How many times have you been up here? How has nobody caught you yet? Leo or someone else has had to seen you at least once. How are you even still alive? You were literally just saying how you didn't want to go up there. Also, are you asking how I survived the surface or Leo? Because one is a lot less fucking scary than the other. I'm telling you that much. If you guys keep arguing, then Leo's gonna figure us out and find us before we even see the bottom of the sewer grate. Don piped up behind them. Alright, smartass, we'll keep going. Raph replied as he continued onwards. It wasn't too long until he finally found the right ladder. He began climbing up it, a small bit of tension releasing from him when he heard his brothers climbing below him. Not that he was worried they'd be scared of a damn ladder or anything. He lifted the grate above him and pulled himself out of the sewer, staring down at his brothers as they did the same. He didn't even question Donnie immediately grabbing onto his sleeve as they began walking. It's beautiful, Mikey gasped, looking around in awe. And dangerous. Keep your guard up. How many times are you gonna say it's dangerous, huh, Raph? As many times as it takes to get it through your thick skull. He shot back at his twin. Mikey simply grumbled and started walking ahead of them. The painted turtle turned a corner, which elicited a gasp out of him. The Mata sped up in accordance, whipping his head around the corner to see the younger turtle staring up at a piece of graffiti. Raph held back a sigh of relief. For fuck's sake, Mike, I thought you'd already managed to get yourself into trouble. The orange-clad teen didn't answer him. Hello, Earth to Michelangelo? April showed me this on her phone a while back. I never thought I'd get to see it in real life. He continued to stare at it for a while before he turned his head to face the others, smiling widely. Thanks for convincing me to come, Raph. It's nice up here. You ain't seen nothing yet. Come on, let's get going. We have a whole lot to see and not a lot of time to do it. Do you think Leo's gonna get really mad when he finds out we're gone? Asked Donnie. He understood why the youngest was being so pessimistic about all this, but damn, he wasn't expecting to be questioned this much. Raph was used to being blindly trusted by him. If you're really that worried about Leo possibly finding out we left, then you can go back to the lair and distract him. No, I want to stay here with you guys. Then stop thinking about that blue buffoon and everyone else is trying to hold it down and help me find the junkyard. Donnie perked up at that, beginning to drag Raph along rather than the other way around. It didn't last long, though, as the softshell stopped walking. He didn't even have a chance to ask him why he immediately whispered, Do you hear that? What, do you... Donnie! He'd begun walking again, peeking around the corner and into an alley. Raph and Mikey followed suit. Inside was a group of humans who were obviously part of some gang, standing over a guy who was wearing a mask and had the fluffiest hair he'd ever seen. Sure, he'd only met 2 people with hair. Is fur hair? Before, so it wasn't a high bar, but still. Some sort of stick that had been tapped to hell and back lay broken next to him. Look, kid, it's been fun, but if you don't stand down, you know what's gonna happen. One of the humans snarled, narrowing his eyes as he glared down at the guy, who put his fists up. Casey Jones can take all 4 of you at once. Just watch me. The amount of confidence was astounding, his voice not wavering once. Damn, even Mikey had the common sense to know he'd get his ass beat in this situation. And he had an actual weapon. As the thug saw the kid was facing down with just his fist, pulled out a metal pipe, it became obvious that he was screwed. As much as he would love to watch the idiot get his ass handed to him, Raph was willing to admit that he wasn't eager to see someone get beat with a metal pipe. He beckoned Mikey and Donnie before beginning to walk back the way they came, deciding that it was fine to take a different, albeit longer, route if it meant avoiding that mess. However, it seemed they were destined to be dragged into it, as Raph heard a thud come from the alley. He looked back to see Donnie standing there, bow gone from his back and shoulders hunched. The elder twin grabbed the wrist of the younger and ran over to the youngest to see what the hell he'd done. The thug that had been threatening the masked guy laid knocked down on the floor next to Donnie's bow, the other three staring directly at the three mutants. They looked pissed for a moment, before one's features morphed into a look of realization and then horror. I don't think those things are human. They're all scaly. That dude's skin is literally green and yellow. He pointed towards Mikey, who tensed up. Shit, you're right. What the hell do you want us to do about it, though? Run, obviously. This kid isn't worth getting mauled by monsters. What about Ray? Fuck Ray, I never liked him anyway. The three took one last look at the brothers before booking it, leaving behind their cohort, who the masked guy was staring down. His gaze shifted toward the bow, which he picked up and admired. Yo, these stickers are sick. Where'd you get them? This staff is cool as hell, too. Got a nice weight to it. Not as cool as my hockey stick, of course, but not that many things can ever dream of getting on that level. He finally turned to face them, his eyes widening and the grip on the staff tightening as he stumbled to his feet, taking a few steps back. Holy shit, I thought they were, hallucinating or something. The dude who says he can take on 4 guys at once is scared. There's only 3 of us. I'm sure you could beat us in no time. Mikey snarked. April would be proud. As much as he wanted to join in, Raph's gaze was locked on Donnie, whose shoulders hunched further without even looking at him. At least he knew he was in deep shit. Donatello Hamato. The soft shell retreated into said shell a little. Yes, Raph? What the fuck was that? You revealed yourself to a bunch of humans for this loser? What would you have done if they attacked you and I didn't notice what was going on? You could have really gotten damn hurt. Hey, Raph, maybe we could save this for another— Shut up, Mikey. Look, Don. I can't take you up here if you're gonna be reckless like this. Leo's gonna notice if you come back all battered and bruised, and if you die up here, I'm gonna kill you, I swear. But you told me not to think about how others would try to hold me down. He seemed nice like April, so I wanted to help him, even though Leo probably wouldn't want. People not wanting you to fuck up and reveal yourself to humans is not holding you down, Don. And I already told you, not every human is as nice as O'Neill. He glared down at Donnie for a few moments as he retreated further into his shell. Raph sighed, grabbing his arm. Come on, we're going home. Get your head out of here so you don't trip. As the Mata began dragging Donnie away, he heard Mikey call out, Don't tell anyone about us, or we'll hunt you down in your nightmares. Bye! Which is exactly what Leo will be doing for the next few weeks if shit were to go even more wrong. His brothers were missing. Mikey, Raph, Donnie, all gone. He immediately used his walkie-talkie to try and contact them, but the only person who responded was April. The two's voices echoed from others' rooms. Oh, swear. When she heard the others were missing, April dropped everything and came over. He used to not be very fond of her, but now he was thankful that she was in their lives. She knows New York a lot better than Leo does. Maybe she could help him find them. However, when she arrived, April instead began to reassure him, talking about how they may be stupid idiots, but they're tough. I'm sure they'll come back in one piece, and if they're not back in the next half hour, then we'll go looking for them and kick their asses for running off. Leo only lasted 15 minutes before he started begging her to let him go back to look for his brothers. She narrowed her eyes before relenting and pulling the bat out of her bag. All right, let's go look for them. She slammed it down onto her shoulder, which was followed by a shout of, Ow! April turned her head to see Donnie, Raph, and Mikey standing behind her, the latter rubbing his head. Never mind. Found him. Guys! Relief rushed over him as he ran and began to check them for injuries, sighing as he found none. Well, Mikey would probably have a bump on his head later on, but luckily he wasn't hit too hard. Now that he was done worrying, it was time to be absolutely furious. Where were you all? You know, you're not allowed to go up to the surface. No humans saw you, right? I swear, if you were followed, you were all in so much trouble. Not that you're getting off scot-free if you weren't. You're not old enough to handle yourselves up there. What if you got yourself killed? You at least brought your weapons, right? Mikey and Raph produced their nunchucks and sai, respectively, but Donnie's weapon was nowhere to be seen. Donatello, where is your bow? Right here, called an unfamiliar voice. Leo immediately drew his katanas, getting into a defensive position as his gaze fell onto a shadowy figure in the sewer's entrance. As they grew closer, he saw it was a human like April. Many pieces of metal were on his face, mostly on the ears, basically only on the ears, apart from a small ring in his nose. His hair was long and fluffy. The sleeves were ripped off his hoodie, he had pieces of fabric wrapped around his neck and wrists, and overall his outfit was pretty ragged. In one hand, he held a mask with a skeleton pattern and 2 parts of some kind of stick, and in the other, he held Donnie's bow. "Shit, it's Caleb Jones!" Mikey exclaimed, earning a slap to the head from Raph, which in turn earned a warning glare from Leo. "Casey Jones," April, Donnie, and the stranger said in unison. "Oh, hey, you remembered my name, little dude." Casey grinned at the youngest before turning to face April. "I knew that they were talking about you. For some reason, I doubted there was another April O'Neil within a million miles of here. I had to make sure, though." April's face morphed into an expression of annoyance. "Haven't you ever heard the phrase, 'curiosity killed the cat'? Curiosity may have killed the cat, but it can't measure up to Casey Jones." "Are you high?" was April's response. Leo had no idea what she was asking, but if high was anything similar to insane, then he would probably say it was a fair question. "What? Is that what you think of me, O'Neil? I'm hurt." The turn to dramatics was both sudden and unwarranted. He wanted this guy out of his home, now. "So, tell me, Casey, why did you follow my brothers here?" Leo steeled his gaze as he stared down the annoyance. "Oh, well, I wanted to return the purple guy's bow, see why they were talking about O'Neil, and also maybe ask for some help." Casey's grin turned sheepish following his last few words. Raph scoffed. "The great Casey Jones needs our help? I thought you could take down 4 guys by myself? Yeah, maybe that was a bit of an overstatement. Even if it was true, though, it wouldn't help. Basically, that gang I was tailing is trying to steal some old relic for, something called, the museum." April piped up in an unimpressed tone. "No, it's, just some old warehouse, so it's probably not that important, but it belonged to some clan called the Hamatos? And you guys mentioned your last name being Hamato, so I thought you might have a connection to it like you did to April. If you did, then I also figured you'd want to protect it." "You must have rubbed your 2 brain cells together really hard to come to that conclusion." "Damn, O'Neil, what did I ever do to you?" "You followed my friends home and then had the nerve to ask them to help you. See anything wrong with that, Jones?" Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Sorry about that." The guy rubbed the back of his head and laughed a bit. "I understand that you guys probably don't trust me at all right now, but if you are connected to this Hamato Clan and want to stop this thingy from falling into the wrong hands, then you're gonna have to trust me for a little while. Then you can go back to thinking I'll, hit your brother over the head with his own stick." "Aren't you gonna question why we're turtles?" Well, it's good to see that Donnie had found his voice. "No, that would be like asking April why she's a woman. That's just how you are, dude. I mean, it's a bit shocking, but I'm sure I'll get used to it." Casey's grin still refused to waver. "Oh, before I forget." He walked over to the soft shell and handed him his bow. "There you go, little dude. Now you're ready to knock out even more of those weirdos, if you're up for it, I mean." Leo's shout of, "You did what?" was ignored entirely as Raph shoved himself in between Donnie and Casey. "Okay, Casey, so, say we choose to trust you and go along with stopping those guys from earlier. How do we know you're not going to reveal our existence as soon as we're useless to you?" "Oh, good point. We could do a pinky promise?" he suggested. "I hate to break it to you, but we don't have pinkies. You could just use whichever finger is the smallest. It's close enough." Leo wasn't expecting Raph to go along with it, but he was proven wrong when he watched his brazen brother do a pinky promise with some random human. He couldn't believe it. He hated April when he first met her, and distrusted her even more than Leo did. Yet, here he is being all buddy-buddy with some random guy he just met. "Raph, you can't just decide for everyone that we can trust this guy. We'll take a vote. If we choose to trust Casey, then we'll go up to the surface and stop this supposed robbery. If we choose the more sensible option of not trusting him, then Casey has to act as if he's never seen us before and doesn't know that April is affiliated with us. Deal?" "Deal." Raph smirked. Well, I know this is a shocker, but I'm voting to trust Casey. What about you, Don? The brother in question looked down at the bow in his hand before looking over at the subject of the vote. I think I agree with Raph. The Matamata ruffled the softshell's non-existent hair, who giggled at the ticklish sensation. Leo frowned. This was a serious situation. They shouldn't be messing around like that. Okay, Mikey, what is your decision? The Ochita map turtle stared down at the painted turtle, Leo hoping the foot of height difference would aid him. He had to get someone on his side. What was a little bit of intimidation if it kept his family safe? I'm sorry, Leo, but I think we should trust him. If Raph, of all people, is choosing to trust Casey, then it's gotta be the right decision. And anyway, we can't let some old Hamato thing get stolen or destroyed. I know you'd hate that, even if you're trying to pretend you don't care. That hit a bit of a nerve, not that Leo would admit it. He whipped his head around to face April, giving her a glare which signaled, a little bit of help here? She sighed. Just give it up, Leo. No matter what you say, you lose here. It's 3 against 1. Just accept that you lost. If you can't convince them, then I sure as hell can't. Maybe I wouldn't have lost if you'd stopped standing there and tried to help me. Hey, watch it. I had plans with Irma tonight, and I had to flake out because you were freaking the hell out. Said it was a family emergency, and if you keep this shit up, there will be a damn emergency. Right, don't mess with April. You forgot. Fine, go stop those thugs or whatever. I'm not coming, though. Oh, come on. Don't be a dick just 'cause you lost. Alright, he was not expecting that from Mikey. But there were more important things to deal with right now. Leo could yell at him later. If you guys are going to get yourselves killed because of some random guy who can't even take care of his own weapon, let alone himself, asks you to go fight people for him because he's so incompetent, then at least if I stay back, one of us will be able to uphold the Hamato legacy. Casey's permanent cheerful expression morphed into one of worry. Hey, that sounds a little harsh, dude. Maybe you should... Raph stomped up to him, jabbing a finger into Leo's plastron. Oh, stop it with your Hamato legacy bullshit. The whole reason we're going is because they're trying to steal some dumb Hamato thing. If anyone should be on board with this, it's you. He didn't even bother responding, only glaring down at his spiky brother. Said brother scoffed, walking away. Come on, guys. This idiot isn't gonna budge. Some leader he is. Raph grabbed Donnie's arm and began dragging him out of the lair. April and Mikey followed suit. Casey looked back at Leo, who just narrowed his eyes. The guy must have taken a hint, because he ran ahead to join the others. The Ochita map turtle stood there for a while, switching between being furious at his brothers for abandoning him for some dude they just met, and being hurt for the same reasons. Did they really hate him that much? Was he that bad of a leader? They know he was just trying to protect them, right? Maybe they just didn't care that he dedicated his entire life to making sure they stayed alive. They didn't care about him wanting to protect him. They just cared about that stupid Surface and that stupid Casey, whatever his last name was. He wondered what Splinter would think about his brother's decision. He'd probably blame Leo more than the others. He was the leader. All of the mistakes his brothers make fall on his shoulders because he didn't teach them well enough. Stuff like stranger danger hadn't even come to his mind when it came to telling his brothers about the world because he never expected them to disobey him and go up there. They'd never disobey if Splinter had been the one enforcing that rule. He just couldn't be as good of a sensei as him. He doubts the others even think of him as a sensei. They probably don't even think of him as a leader. A small beep came from the walkie-talkie on the couch next to him. April's voice crackled through the speaker. Hey, Leo, I know you're busy sulking, right? A short pause, a grunt filling the sentence. But your help would really be fucking appreciated. She fell silent for another few seconds. Look, there's a lot of guys here, and we don't even know which one of these things is the Hamato thingamajig. But you know a ton about this stuff, right? Come on, please, we need you, even if the guys won't admit it. You're their leader. They're screwed without you telling them what to do. Was he really gonna ignore April asking him for help? Leo walked over and brought the walkie-talkie up to his mouth. Alright, I'm coming. Just tell me where you are. He dashed out of the lair, hoping he'd be able to get there in time to help them. He was the leader, after all. He was useless if he failed his team. He says he's coming! April yelled out as she slammed the guy around the head with her bat. Ouch. Raph had gotten on her bad side before, but she'd never resorted to violence when that happened, at least when it came to him. He considered himself lucky. I told you, we don't need him. He shouted back, parrying one thug's katana with his sai before elbowing another in the face. The red-clad turtle was being bombarded with these bastards. He wished they'd just give up already. Whatever this Hamato thing they were looking for was, it couldn't be that important. I think we might... There's too many of them for us to fight alone, Donnie called out. And you think that adding one more guy to our side is going to help? We can't beat them all, was Mikey's response. We don't need to beat them. We just need to find that Hamato thing and get out of here. Even if we did beat them all, they'd just send more over. Raph questioned how Casey even knew that, but didn't get the chance to ask as he fought off two more thugs. He noticed that they had feet-shaped patches on their uniforms. Weirdos. I thought you told the guys you could fight off like 20 dudes alone, April snarked. I said I could fight 4. Jeez, you guys don't let things go, do you? How long till Leo gets here? As funny as it was to continue teasing the masked teen about his stupid comment, there were more important things to deal with, like not getting their asses handed to them. Leo, you close? If by close you mean right outside, then yes, is the door clear? April threw her bat like a damn boomerang, the guy guarding the door falling to the floor as soon as it hit his skull. Well, damn, now he knew where Dawn got the move from. Of course, now get in here and help us find the thing so we can leave. If the dude wasn't knocked out before, the door hitting them even harder than the damn bat did as Leo kicked his way through probably finished the job. Have you ever opened a door before? You saw the handle, right? April looked over at the leader with raised eyebrows. He probably just thought kicking it would look cooler, Mikey suggested. If you guys want my help, then you better shut up and let me search. Do you really think you're going to be able to find the Hamato thing? We haven't had much time to look between fighting, but surely one of us would have... Found it, Leo shouted as he slid under a fistfight between April and one of the thugs, snatching a box with some strange symbol on it. Let's get out of here. Ref frowned but complied, pushing the guy as he was fighting away before running out of the building, jumping over the guard. Yep, definitely out. He ran for a while before stopping and looking back to see if the others had followed. April, Casey, and Leo caught up with him in seconds, the former two sporting a few bruises but seeming fine otherwise. Mikey was running a bit slower than usual, a bum leg hindering him, and Donnie was looking worse for wear, a tiny trail of blood behind him. Shit. At least they were all alive, though. He was about to ask if they were alright, but Mikey spoke before him. Let's get back to the lair first. You can pull out medic Raph when we're safe. Raph had no clue how his twin knew, but he relented and continued onwards, however not without wrapping an arm around Mikey to aid him in walking. The painted turtle rolled his eyes but didn't say anything. Okay, so what does the symbol on the box mean? Was Raph's first question as he finished tending to the youngest siblings. The other three had just been staring down at the box this whole time. He couldn't yell if they were waiting until everyone was reading, or if they thought it was a trap. Maybe both. It's the Hamato Clan's symbol. Do you really not know that? Leo seemed genuinely surprised. The real question is, why do you know that and we don't? Mikey had a good point. It was weird. Donnie seemed confused too. I'm the leader. I have to know this kind of stuff. I just thought you guys would too. Raph felt the answer was a little suspicious, but decided to move on. So, when are you gonna open the box? I'm getting to it. Leo sat in silence for a few moments before pushing the box towards Casey. You open it. Wait, why me? Because you're the whole reason we went to get it. Are you gonna open it or not? Are you really trusting Casey Jones with some priceless Hamato antique? April asked. What if he, reduces it to dust? What? Why would I? Look! Casey pulled the box closer and eased open the top before breathing a sigh of relief and letting it drop onto the table. See, I didn't break anything. Now, let's see. He pulled a piece of paper out of it, examining it closely. Damn, it's just a picture of 3 randos. That sucks. All that for nothing. Mikey patted him on the back. Hey, it's alright. At least it didn't fall into the hands of those losers back there. Now, give me that. He snatched it from the vigilante's hands, eliciting a hey from him. He paid Casey no mind, however, simply studying the image. Nope. No clue who they are. Leo? He handed it to the turtle in question, who also took a moment to look at the picture. A sigh. Absolutely no idea. I'll try to figure it out. Maybe we can ask Sensei when he visits. Ref wanted to say, if he visits, but kept his mouth shut. He'd already pissed Leo off enough today. So, you think this find is that important? Damn. Well, hey, those guys would probably be after more of this kind of stuff. Maybe if you get into it before them, you could figure it out. Having more context would help a lot. Casey piped up. April rolled her eyes. And how do you think we'll find out what they're going to try heisting next? We don't have many connections, you know. Oh, well, I do. Look, you guys want what they're looking for, and I just want to stop them. We have mutual goals, you know, so I suggest we work together. The black-haired teen beamed. It would be so badass. Leo seemed confused. I don't know what you mean by badass, but we are not working together. I'm sure we'll manage fine on our own. We'll just wait for... That'll take forever. Right, I'm proposing a vote. If you think we should trust Casey permanently and let him help us, raise your hand. Hey, no, you don't get to propose a vote, Raph. I'm the leader. I propose the votes. Shut it, Leo. Raise your hands, people. We don't got all day. Raph waved his arm in the air as he spoke. A somewhat hesitant hand raise from Donnie was followed by Mikey's arm shooting up and April lazily throwing her own up. Look at that. 4-1. Welcome to the team. He lightly punched their new member in the arm. Just don't fuck this up, and it'll be a decent partnership. Got it. You can count on Casey Jones. Leo narrowed his eyes at them before storming off. Raph groaned. Shit. We just got him to finish sulking, too. Well, you guys better leave. We've got this mess to deal with, and you guys have school, or whatever, in, an amount of time. Got it. See you guys. Casey booked it without hesitation, stopping for a moment to give them a massive wave using his hockey stick before continuing on his way. I'll leave in a bit. I just want to have a quick chat with you first, Raph. Sure, apes. Mikey, Don, could you leave us be for a while? The two complied, Mikey leaving in silence, whilst Donnie left a following whisper of, Night, Raffy. Yeah, sure, like he wasn't going to be up till 5 a.m. working on those damn phones. Rather than a night of his own, he responded with a, don't stay up too late, as if that would stop him. The soft-shell sheepish grin told him that it wouldn't. April patted the spot next to her, and Raph took a seat. They sat in silence for a few moments before she began to speak. You know, I can't stop thinking about how weird you've been acting today. Why'd you start trusting Casey so fast? Did your 3 sizes too small heart finally get the memo? Raph didn't answer immediately, turning away from April to face the wall. I didn't. I just knew it would piss Leo off. If I say I trust him, then D agrees just because I'm his favorite, and then Mikey follows along because he doesn't want to be left out, and because he thinks they'll earn brownie points with D. All of us against him. Even if you'd take his side, that's still 3 against 2. I knew it would drive him mad, but he'd still have to listen. He's the one who said we should vote, so it would sure look bad if he was also the one who went against it. April shuffled away from him, her frustration with him apparent, despite Raph not being able to see her expression. So you only said you trusted him to piss off Leo? To just fuck around? What if he screws up and does something like, oh, I don't know, reveal your existence to everyone and their moms? What are you gonna do then, huh? You think of that, tough guy? I don't know if you noticed, but he's not the kind of guy who thinks before he speaks. Don't sweat it, April. If he breaks our trust, we break him. That is the corniest thing you've ever said, and you know it. Shut up. You're lucky you're my best friend. Otherwise, I would have kicked your ass for that. Sure you would have. You what? We got attacked by these weird turtle mutants and 2 humans. The foot soldier repeated. They seem to know a lot about the Hamato Clan, mentioned them by name and everything, and they knew what we were looking for, left as soon as they got their hands on it. Shredder sat in silence for a few moments, contemplating this development. 3 other members of the Foot had mentioned coming across these 3 scaly monsters as well. The soldiers in front of him squirmed in anticipation, so he decided to put them out of their misery. I'll choose to believe in you for now. Go contact Big Mama. Tell her I have another deal she might be interested in. End of Chapter 1. Thank you for listening. Fuck, it's racing.